And Chip Reid is outside the White House now to talk about all this. So, Chip, how significant of a change will this be to emission restrictions?
You know, we don't know. We really don't know. This is a process of submitting new rules, going through a public comment period. It could take months. It could even take more than a year. So we really don't know how far Pruitt is going to try to go. And for that matter, we don't even know if he's going to be still in that job when it actually happens.
So as we mentioned, Pruitt is already in the headlines for his housing situation and travel costs. What is the status of the president's relationship with him?
Well, first I should say that the EPA says that condo contract is consistent with federal ethics regulations. But I should also say there are reports now that Pruitt could be out of his job quite soon, even though just last week the president called him and told him he was doing a good job. So yet another personnel mystery here at the White House.
It never changes. Let me ask you about this, Chip. We're learning the 60 Russian diplomats expelled by the White House are replaceable. I'm not sure. Explain what that really means, because we were under the impression that these diplomats were expelled because of the attack on a former Soviet agent, former Russian agent in the UK. What's the deal with this?
Well, what we're learning from the State Department is that, yes, that was the rationale used for expelling these 60, and that certainly had something to do with it because the United States needed to keep the UK and other countries happy. But they've been keeping a list of possible spies, just as the Russians do of U.S. possible spies, for quite some time, and they saw this as an opportunity to get some of the spies out. So now they're allowing personnel positions to be refilled if Russia so requests on a case-by-case basis, and the purpose there will be to let diplomats back in but try to keep the spies out. Hard to tell the difference sometimes, though.
Indeed. Well, the president invited Vladimir Putin to the White House during a phone call, but senior advisors have recommended a more aggressive action against Russia. So what is the likelihood, what are you hearing from your White House sources, of this possible meeting between the two in Washington?
Well, when the president talked about it a couple of weeks ago, he sounded like it's something he really wants to do, and he certainly trusts his instincts more than he trusts his advisors on things like this. And yesterday, the White House confirmed that the White House itself is one possible venue for them to have a meeting in the, as the president put it, the not-too-distant future. That has some people here concerned. It certainly has a lot of the president's critics concerned. They say that Putin should be treated as an adversary, not an ally.
And Chip, I know you've been tracking the president's tweets. He has been on a Twitter tear this morning.
Yes,
you know,
and for days now.
Yes.
Indeed.
Indeed. A couple of questions about that. And it was always clear that Chief of Staff John Kelly was not going to be the one to temper or moderate the president's tweeting. But it does seem as if in the last couple of days he has been on this sort of tweet storm. And I'm curious about, explain to our viewers why the president is touting the Rasmussen poll, because maybe people may not understand there are different polls out there. Every organization has a different one, and what the implications of this one particular poll are. And then I want to just ask you about the claim that President Obama, and I'll read the tweet, "Thank you to Rasmussen for the honest polling, just hit 50%, which is higher than cheatin' Obama at the same time of his administration." So the president name-calling a former president there, despite the First Lady making that a focus of her platform to stop cyberbullying across this country. So a lot to unwrap there, but let's start with the Rasmussen poll.
Well, that is a poll that typically does benefit Republicans. It does lean Republican, but when you say that, they say, well, but it was better than the mainstream polls in predicting who was going to win the 2016 presidential election. So it may be accurate, it might not. It's not consistent with most other polls, but Republicans often take comfort in the Rasmussen poll. And there was a lot of other stuff, as you said, to unwrap there.
Just the tweeting. I mean, the president this morning, he attacked the media. He attacked the president of CNN.
He is on an attack binge. There is no doubt about it. And there's a lot of prognosticating on cable. Why exactly he has chosen this moment to do that, who knows? There are some people who believe it's a way of trying to put the Stormy Daniels and other stories of that ilk on the back burner. There are some people who believe it's just he sees an opportunity here to take control of the conversation on so many different things. He's got a lot of turmoil in the White House right now. He does not want that to be the main topic of conversation. Truth is, nobody really knows why he goes on these tweet storms, but boy, is he in one right now.
Indeed he is. Our Chip Reid at the White House for us. Thank you, Chip.
My pleasure.